what's up, everybody? I'm Davis.
And I'm Isabel.
And welcome back to another episode of I Wish I Knew. Today, we are diving into the world of extracurriculars. Can you help me out with that, Isabel?
Extracurriculars.
There we go. That's what it's called here at James O'Neill High School. So, Isabel, you're a little better at saying the word, so maybe you can tell me some of these clubs and activities that you have been a part of at high school.
Okay, so I've been a part of Podcast Club, Literary Magazine, Red Cross Club, S2S, Interact, Fashion Club, National Honor Society, Science Club. Did I already say that?
No, you haven't.
Craft Club for 1 year in freshman year.
That's right.
Student advisory. And yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now. Might have forgotten something. But what have you been a part of?
That's quite the list, Isabel, and I too have been a part of a handful of clubs and activities starting from freshman year. Let's see, so I've been a part of Youth in Government, Student Council, NHS, we've got S2S, Red Cross Club, and not as much as you. You've definitely have quite the diverse resume there, but
Can't forget about Podcast Club.
Podcast Club, that's right. Thank you. I've definitely contributed a lot of time and effort into a few of those, some more than others, but I've loved every second of them. But our first question that we should tackle is, what kind of experience have you had with these extracurriculars in high school?
Well, like you said, of what I said was a long list, but you obviously can't have your full effort in each one as much as you want. I think you want to dive it more into what you're more interested in. So I've stuck with some of these clubs because I think they're really helpful to our community and stuff. Like Red Cross, I think I really like, and Podcast Club and Literary Magazine, I would say are like the three clubs I've devoted my time to the most. But that doesn't mean I don't like the other clubs. They're like Science Club, we meet once a week and we talk about science movies, and although it's not much of a time commitment, it's still something I like to do. So it just depends on how you're interested in certain things over others. What about you?
I really like that point on, as much as we would like to, we can't focus all of our attention into the 5 or 6 clubs that we're in. We kind of have our subtle favorites. I think the most valuable experience I've had from an extracurricular was from student council. Junior year, I decided to become a part of the council as a junior class treasurer, and that really helped me kind of get involved with the school and kind of see behind the scenes of things that I never knew really existed. Or I guess all these dances, I guess they have planning committees to them, and I didn't really know that. And then to go into it and see behind the scenes on how everything was funded or how do we plan it was really cool for me. And it helped me kind of get involved within the school and kind of see that there are more things going on that really meets the eye, and that it's kind of cool that we're able to do some of the things that you might think teachers or faculty plan, but it's actually the students planning these cool events like homecoming parades or pep rallies and whatnot. So that was really cool for me. Like you said, Red Cross Club is really good in community involvement and getting to help out in many ways. So attending food pantries, and especially during the pandemic, I see a lot of value in that, and helping the community and making sure that we have a responsibility as high school students to not only go to school but also to help out the community that has given us a whole lot of opportunity.
I think another topic that we can go into also is officer positions. So, what positions do you hold in any of these clubs?
That's a great idea, Isabel. In NHS, I'm the secretary, and then student council, I'm the executive vice president. And so those positions have put me kind of at the top in terms of leadership in these specific clubs. Like, we kind of run the meetings, and we have jobs that kind of include a little bit more work than just a normal member, but it definitely keeps you more involved with the club. It's kind of like you're a direct line of communication with the advisor, and then you communicate with the members. So, like any officer position in any club, you automatically are given a lot more responsibility, but with that comes a lot more opportunity, and it's kind of cool just to, in a way, you and a few other people are sort of running the club, and I think that is really, really cool. And so, in student council and NHS, I've definitely had valuable experiences with being an officer. And Isabel, I know that you are an officer in a few clubs, so I would love to hear about your experience as well.
So this year actually I got 3 officer positions senior year. So before, in my previous years of high school, I haven't held any positions. I was just a member, but I would say I was pretty involved as just one of the members. But this year I got secretary of both podcast and Red Cross Club, and then I became president and chief editor of the Literary magazine, which was, I think, is the most interesting role I've had, because I previously wasn't in Literary magazine, and in one of my classes, Mr. Yasso was just like, a lot of the returning members have graduated, so we're looking for people to fill in these roles. And I was like, hey, I'll do it. Like, I'm pretty interested in what Literary magazine is, and like what it represents, and creativity and stuff. And I thought that was a pretty cool position to hold. And it's the process probably isn't as easy or as like fluid as it was, but I emailed Mr. Yasso, and I was like, I'm really interested in this. And then I was president, so it was a pretty seamless transition. I can't say that for the rest of the clubs. I know for a podcast club, I had to record like a little mini like podcast pitch, which was pretty cool. And then for Red Cross Club, I had to send in a letter. I spoke with the previous officers, the advisor, and then there's voting involved in that too. And so it's been I think it's a very valuable experience to be an officer, because it teaches you a lot of lessons like delegating, planning, communication, which I think it can be very, very valuable, especially when it comes in like college and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Your dialogue on kind of becoming officers in these different clubs and activities, and how sort of easy it is at times, kind of brings up a really cool point that I've noticed about extracurriculars at O'Neill, is that because of the size of our school, there is a lot more opportunity for people to really get involved in numerous opportunities and activities, and even become an officer in multiple different clubs if you can handle it. I remember, I guess because of the size of the school, nobody ran against me for executive vice president, but colleges aren't going to know that, and nobody will know unless you tell them. So at O'Neill, literally get involved in so many different things. There's not going to be tryouts. There's not going to be you have to have some sort of resume for it. Other than NHS, which is pretty selective, every other club and activity, email the teacher and you're in. And there you go. Obviously, there's responsibility to actually go and attend different events and whatnot in these clubs. But if you can handle balancing your schedule to meet the needs of each of these clubs as best as you can, you'll have 5 or 6 really wonderful opportunities to learn, explore, and kind of, who knows, find your passion. And a small school like O'Neill absolutely facilitates that process really, really well. And there is nothing really stopping you from just going out and doing all these things. So I don't know if you want to speak on that a little bit, Isabel, but that's just something I was thinking.
Yeah, I would say that it's one thing running for a position and then getting it, and then another thing like actually holding that position and fulfilling your responsibility. Because there's a lot of clubs at O'Neill, it's pretty easy to like try out each one and then try to have a piece of yourself in each one. But I think if you want to hold an officer position, you do have to uphold certain responsibilities, like actually like go to the meetings and stuff, like, and doing your role outside of school. Because at times it could be like an unbalanced relationship between the officers, like, oh, like this officer will do that, the other will do that, and sometimes it can be a little unlevel. But I still think I don't think anything's really stopping you. I think two of the biggest clubs at O'Neill are probably Red Cross and S2S, and I think National Honor Society is pretty up there too. But I also think it's very valuable, like the smaller clubs, because I know like one of the smaller clubs I'm in, Science Club, it's like less than 10 people, and there's nothing wrong with that because you do get to have like more intimate conversation, or Lit Mag even. We have like fewer than 10 and people come in and out, and that's okay because I like when I get to see a new face and they're trying something new. But I think there's a benefit to being a part of those big social clubs like Red Cross and S2S, but also in the smaller like clubs. I know for freshman year craft club, it was actually really fun, even though it was just for 1 year, because it was basically my earth science class, and we just stayed after school and try to build like plant hangers and stuff. But it was fun. So yeah. I think just try out different things and see what you want to make of it.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point with there really is a fine balance between being an officer in multiple clubs as a resume building kind of campaign, opposed to this is something like I really love to do, and I know that I'll be able to really bring this club up to the spotlight and really succeed at that level. I guess kind of like Red Cross Club, if you're an officer, like it's going to be a lot of work, but you got to be ready for it. And if you're really passionate about helping the community, that's like the opportunity for you. But I really liked also what you said about these smaller clubs. In a way, like I kind of call them passion clubs, where they're sort of like different skills or activities that I think people can really find a passion in, or they already have a passion in it. So video club, anime club, newspaper club, craft club, science club. These are smaller scaled clubs that are really like designed for a person that are either interested or want to be interested in these different opportunities, I guess. So you might show up to podcast club, not know anything about making a podcast, and by the end of your senior year, you're going to go study communications and college, right? So these are like the clubs that are really valuable to join to really learn about yourself and what you like to do. So when you go to college or join the workforce, you already know what you're passionate about. And I think that is one of the most valuable learning opportunities high school has to offer. That's something that you can't find in a classroom. It's something that is a lot bigger than that and is really cool.
Yeah. While you were saying that, I actually remember like one of the bigger clubs too is Drama Club, and they do a lot of stuff like for theater and stuff. I know Claire and Abby, they do their own podcast on certain theater performances and stuff. And I've actually been a part of the stage crew for like a short period of time just to see how it was, to test it out. And during my study halls, I would go help paint like a bench or something on stage. And it didn't really take too much out of my time, but it could, like it kind of depends on you how much time you want to devote to a certain club. But I know that Drama Club, is definitely something to mention too, because although I'm not in it, I know that many listeners might be. So yeah, go check out that other podcast too. So
Yeah, absolutely. Go check it out.
something else that I think is notable to mention is that, like, if you have an idea as a member of a club, like, you are so welcome to just talk to, like, an officer or the advisor to, like, share your thoughts, because I know on Red Cross, like, one of the members had an idea to, like, do coins for change for businesses because students weren't in school. And then just like that, like, we executed the idea, and it was pretty successful. And it was all because of a member had an idea. And I think members can have that influence, and really I think it could be pretty impactful. But in the cases that if you want to do something outside of the club and you possibly want to start your own club, I personally haven't done that, but I know that a lot of the teachers or advisors, whoever you speak to, if it's like science related or like donation related, I think that faculty are really they're really helpful in that area. So I think they would guide you in how to do that really well. And I feel like everyone's welcome. It would take some time and process though, I would say, I believe, because you would need like approval or like how you plan to execute it. Because one of our close friends, actually, she wanted to start up a feminine necessity drive, and I think that was one of the most successful things last year, junior year, and she managed to get a really good, effective community and committee
Right.
to help her execute this. And it just, I know she had a lot of communication and meeting time with the guidance counselors, and I even had to help her present her idea to the school board and like certain different heads of the school. So it does take some time and dedication if you want to start something up, but I do think that the faculty are really welcoming, and they want you to succeed in what you plan to do. So I think that's pretty important to note.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, we have at least over 25 clubs, and while we're here, I might as well just name them off. And these are some of the best opportunities at O'Neill for you to get involved. So there's Academic League, Anime Club, the Black Student Association, Chess Club, Drama Club, Environmental Club, Fashion Club, Fitness Club, the Gay Straight Alliance, Interact Club, Jazz Ensemble, Literary Magazine, Mock Trial, Newspaper Club, Podcasting Club, Reading Buddies, Red Cross Club, Robotics Club, Students Against Destructive Decisions, Science Club, Spanish Club, S2S or Student to Student, Student Council, Tech Crew, Video Club, Yearbook Club, Youth in Government, and Zenden. And honestly, I would say about a handful of those, 5 to 10 of those, have been started since we were freshmen. So within the last 4 years, some new clubs are always popping up. So that just goes to show that there is an absolutely huge opportunity for anybody who is looking at these clubs and sees that their passion isn't there and knows that other people share that same passion. It's pretty feasible for you to have your club be started and for it to join the list of already so many. So, Isabel, we look at this list and we see how many clubs there are, and I know that you and I are both a part of a lot of them. And so, how do we balance all these extracurriculars, including sports and academics as well, but specifically filling up your schedule with all these extracurriculars? What is that like for you, and how do you do that?
I would say I do prioritize the ones that I hold a position in, because I have dedicated and like signed up for those positions, and I think they should take more responsibility. But I would also say, like, most of these clubs stick to a schedule, like meet every Tuesday, meet every other Wednesday, or maybe like once a month. Some of these clubs can be more sporadic and be like, oh, okay, like meeting once a month, or we'll let you know. But I know for me, there are some times basically every week where two of the clubs that I'm a part of meet on the same day, but one is at 2:30, one's at 2:45. And one of the pros to online school is that I'm able to go to both. I think that if I was in person, I don't think it would be fair to like run in and out of both. But I think on online, that is an advantage because I can, like, the advisor knows that I have to leave early, but I get to be there till the last second that I have to leave because it's as easy as clicking a link. But I do think, like, pay attention to the announcements, or I know other clubs use GroupMe or Classroom to send out their announcements, so I would say that. And just like, I know for me, writing it down, talking to other people, be like, oh, remember we have this meeting, and be like, oh, I forgot about that, you know? So I think that's how I get around. What about you?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel the same way in a lot of ways. I use the same strategies as you do. Like you said, I think I definitely prioritize the clubs that I have a major role in. The hardest part is not being able to attend a meeting when you really want to because of something that comes up. So I think there is a fine line between getting involved in a lot of clubs and opportunities, but also you need to make sure that you have some sort of balance and that you're not biting off more than you can chew, because that does take away, especially if you're an officer from that club, if you're not able to participate to the capacity that you probably should. So, go for it, get involved with all the clubs that you really love, or maybe you just want to try out, but make sure that you are kind of realizing that there are time commitments to these clubs, and you don't want to kind of take a deep dive into uncharted territory.
Another thing I think is important is that some people do sign up for clubs just because it looks good on a resume, which I completely understand because we all want to have some good stuff to put on there, but I think that it has to be a little bit more than that because there are certain guidelines that a club requires. Some are more loose than others, but I know for a lot of the bigger clubs, it is easy to kind of lose track of all these members, but I would say that they make an effort that participation is a requirement, where, okay, you have to come to the next 3 meetings, or if you come to all the meetings, you get a prize at the end of the year, which is like some initiative. But I would say that shouldn't be a problem if you're really passionate about a certain club. So I think what I would encourage everyone is to really sign up for as many clubs as you'd like if you're really interested in them. And it's okay if you lose interest in them throughout the year. Just like respectfully bow out, or just try not, like, don't sign up the next year, but then take that in an effort to look for what you are really passionate about. So I think that can be pretty valuable. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Isabel said, I think she brings up a really, really, really good point there. All in all, extracurriculars are an absolutely fantastic opportunity for you to develop as a student and also as a person. Put yourself into uncomfortable situations that you've never been in. Learn about yourself. Discover your passions. All these wonderful things that really go into creating a diverse, inclusive, and unique high school experience. And I think that Isabel and I both agree that our clubs have really given us opportunities that are going to help us in college, in our lives, and just have helped us develop as people. And so I highly encourage anybody to join just one of those clubs on the list, and then go to 2 maybe, and then if you want and have time, for 3. But just start somewhere that you feel comfortable, that you think that you will enjoy, or maybe you want to try something new. But I don't think you should ever not get involved. I think that is just one of the best advice I've ever been given, and that I want to give to others as well, is get involved, join these extracurriculars, and I think you'll just have a blast.
Yeah, I think the opportunities that come out of being a part of a club are really kind of limitless. Like, I even know that some officers were able to go on trips to like DC or like New York City because they're officers and they were invited to summits. So there are a whole bunch of different opportunities of growth and learning that you can experience a part of a club. And I think it's just a good place to hang out with some friends and do like pretty cool activities together. So yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And so with that, I think we are going to wrap up this episode. I really appreciate all of our listeners. I hope you guys got something out of this episode and learned some more about extracurriculars at O'Neill.
So thank you so much for listening, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for another one soon. I'm Isabel.
I'm Davis, and this is
I Wish I Knew.